Good morning, Gateway Rotary.
Good morning, President Mike.
I love the buzz in the air today. Like the way I project that antenna out, Jerry.
I think we're downwind of the pot shop.
He's All right, leading us today in our flag salute, Mr. Mike Bell.
Good morning, fellow Rotarians. Please join me in the salute of our flag, to our flag. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And leading us in our four-way test today, +1, Mr. Andrew Marcus.
Oh, yay! Good morning, fellow Rotarians. Please join me in a four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it true?
Second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third,
Will it vote goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
and number 5.
Is it right?
All right, we have some guests today. Go ahead, please be seated.
We mandate.
Back for another visit, Miss Kim Nedro, somewhere out there. Hey, Kim. Welcome back again. And we have 3 other guests, but they will soon be Rotarians, so I'm going to bypass their names until we get them inducted today. Let's see. Where are we at? Where's my little photo?
It's right there.
Oh, there we go. A quick thank you. We had a really, really good turnout on Friday morning. We spruced up a yard in Tumwater for one of the properties owned by Homes First, and we painted the trim. And I told my wife I will never go up that high again on a ladder, but man, that's high. So thank you to Tanita and Janine, Nathan, my wife Kathy, Randy and Kearney Moeller, and I'm not missing anybody from
Troy.
Troy, yes, Troy Oliver, thank you. And we worked with a group from OB Credit Union and an insurance agency in Tumwater. Just again, a reminder, our social coming up on October 23, please RSVP. I'll read a couple more announcements. That's just coming up soon. Back. Let's see, November 14th, there's some flyers on the table for our district-wide meeting at St. Martin's, November 14th, with our very own Bill McGregor. Kind of feels like he's a member of our club, even though he's not. And let's see, quick introduction, or announcement from David Brooks and Susan Ngugi. Did I say that almost right, Susan? All right, good.
Oh, yeah.
Love the connection. Hi, everyone. I'm David Brooks from Capital Centennial. This is our President, Susan. Okay.
My name is Susan Ngugi. I'm the president for this year at Capital Centennial.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So you'll notice on your tables we've got this fundraiser. This is a really unique fundraiser in this area. So what we're doing here is called Blanco Festiva, and it's a masquerade party, and it's being held. Where's it being held at, Susan?
It's going to be at the Senior Center downtown on October 19th.
From
6 to 9.
6 to 9, yes. And what's on the agenda here? What kind of food are we having?
Yeah, we're going to have a local restaurant catering for us. They are South American food. Very interesting. I'm excited to see what they get to serve for us. But we also have a lot more going on. There's going to be a fashion show, probably about 9 to 10 different countries of origins. What's interesting, that's probably about the number of people that come from those countries that we have in our club.
Thank you. And so what are we going to be using the money for that we raised from this?
David, on top of the local things that we do with another fundraiser that we do at the end of the year, this is our international fundraiser, and what we're going to use this money for is like the project we just did in March of this year in the Philippines, where we got to buy bobcats. Too early, I haven't had my coffee. Backpacks and school supplies, and the money was all spent in the Philippines, and we got to travel there and get the backpacks packed and delivered to the children. This was a school that the kids needed that. right, for the school year. So that was really great. So this following year, we're going to do a project in environmental education in Nairobi, Kenya.
Cool, thank you. Yes, so how do you sign up? Well, take a look here. There's that QR code right here on your page. And all you have to do is get your smartphone out, snap that, go to the link, and sign up and come out and enjoy the fun.
Oh, wait, question. Are you going to be in the fashion show?
I'm wearing that today.
But
So
we will have
Members?
stuff.
All right.
Yes, no.
we also have individual tickets available. So if you didn't want to do the QR code, we have those available, and also donations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Susan. Yes, please show up. I will be representing Ireland in the fashion show this year.
The Bold Irish. Dory Leprechaun.
All right, now I would like to bring up our Assistant District Governor, Ms. Sandy Hansen, and our 3 new members, Janine Mager, Terry Camille, and Robert Layman. I have no sponsor, but I would also like to bring up their mentors. Is that okay? Yes. All right. Mentor Nita will be mentoring Janine. Sylvia.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Sylvia will be mentoring Robert Lehman, and I will be mentoring Miss Terry, since I see her at least once a month outside of here. Right, all yours.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good morning, fellow Rotarians and honored guests. It's my great privilege today to induct 3 new members to our Rotary family. Rotary is an organization dedicated to fellowship and service, united by a shared commitment to make the world a better place for everyone. We welcome individuals who embody Rotary's core values of service, integrity, diversity, leadership, and fellowship. Today we're honored to add another 3 individuals to our growing group, and this is a great group. I'm a little prejudiced, but I love that.
Yeah, you're right.
So we're already up here, and we have our sponsor, Mike, who's just bringing them in. So Janine, Terry, Robert, by joining Rotary, you are becoming a part of a global network of 1.4 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who see the world where people unite and take action to create lasting change. Rotary's motto, service above self, is the foundation of everything we do. Today you are committing to the values of Rotary, to serve your community, to work for peace and goodwill, and to continue to the betterment of the world. Please repeat after me and put your name in there. State my name. I state my name. Do solemnly pledge that I will truthfully support the ideals of Rotary International and uphold the values and standards of this club. I commit myself to the service of others, the pursuit of peace, goodwill, and understanding in my community and in the world. By the authority vested in me as Assistant Governor of Area 130 in District 5020, I'm honored to welcome you as the newest members in the world. And I think that Mike has a new pin for you.
Yay, Mike.
Hand him the pins, Mike.
There you go. Okay, I'm going to hand
Maybe he needs help from his mentors.
It's the small motor skills that go first.
And it's showing, right?
Yeah.
Did you want to have him?
Yeah, just a quick introduction.
Quick introduction. You're on.
I'm Janine Mager. I live here in Olympia in the Northeast area. I moved here 2 years ago, and delighted to be part of the club and into the swing of things around here.
All right.
I'm Terry Carrillo. I have Blessings Mobile Notary Services, and I have been commissioned by Washington for about 3 years, and I look forward to serving in the club.
Hi, and I'm Robert Lehman. Live in West Olympia. Mike's brother-in-law, by the way. Been coming out here for a few years, I guess. I've been coming a couple times a year. So appreciate the invite, Mike, and proud to be a member. Thank you.
Congratulations and welcome to the club. Okay, now I am going to turn over the mic to Spencer Beeman, and this will be our first and I think only political forum this year. That's what we're saying.
Thank you, Mike.
Spencer Zeman, what is your title in Gateway Rotary?
I am the Vice President of Gateway Rotary, and that means my job is to line up speakers, informational guests, and all the entertainment you want. So, yes, this will be our only candidate forum this year. As most of the races don't directly impact this area, many of the candidates chose to decline to come and attend those. So, today I'd like to highlight two of the candidates that are running for Washington State House Representatives, 22nd Legislative District, Position 2. The 22nd Legislative District includes most of Olympia, Lacey, and Tumwater. Washington State Legislature is a bicameral body with 49 members in the Senate and 98 members in the House of Representatives. Each district is served by one senator and 2 House members. The citizen legislature meets annually, starting on the second Monday in January. During odd-numbered budgeting years, the legislature meets for 105 days and 60 days on odd-numbered years. Or so. It depends on how many after sessions we have and how many special issues pop up and need immediate addressing. You'll notice that that's different than a lot of other states where they have full-time legislatures. So our legislatures are what I affectionately call citizen legislatures. They're not full-time professional legislatures. That does by no means diminish them whatsoever, because they are gifting their time and talents to us, and I appreciate that very much. So please join me in welcoming Representative Jessica Bateman and Commissioner Bob Iyall. You may stand on either side of the table. Oh. What did it bring an endorsement? So today our format is going to be pretty simple. We're going to start with 2 minutes of questions, 2 minutes for the candidates to introduce themselves, talk about themselves, talk about why they're running. You'll notice that time is running out because I'm going to start to mosey on over to you, and my phone's going to be buzzing noisily, and that's your cue to give the mic back. So if you do run into that situation, please try to wrap things up in a few seconds and hand it back. I know how stressful that can be because you'll be in the middle of a point and shoot, your brain's going to turn off once you hear that buzzer, but it's okay. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it here. And the first question is going to be that introduction. And so I'm going to turn it over to the incumbent, Representative Jessica Bateman.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here again. I just want to thank you for your service as Rotarians and your commitment to being very positive and having fun in our community. We can always use more fun. I need to do it more. My name is Jess Bateman, and I am your state representative. It's a privilege for me to serve in that position for the last 4 years. I do also have a day job. I'm a strategic advisor for Washington's community health centers. As a network, they're the largest provider of health care for our Medicaid patients in Washington State. Before serving in the legislature, I served on the Olympia City Council for 5 years, 2 years as the deputy mayor, and before that, I served as a legislative assistant to former Representative Chris Reichel, who's now the superintendent of public instruction, and I also served as an Olympia planning commissioner. Since serving in the legislature, my focus has been on creating affordable and abundant and attainable housing in Washington. We're experiencing a housing crisis where we're short about 250,000 homes, and over the next 20 years, we need to create 1 million, half of which need to be affordable at 0 to 50% AMI. 50% AMI is affordable at $1,200 a month. So we need a lot of work in order to get that type of housing created. In 2023, we had the Year of Housing, where we created a bipartisan, bicameral package of pro-housing bills. They called it the Year of Housing because we passed more pro-housing bills in 1 year than we had in the previous decade. I want to highlight my colleague, Representative Andrew Barkas, who worked hand in hand with us on that legislation. We couldn't have done it without him. I also worked on legislation to protect reproductive rights in Washington State. After the overturning of Roe and the passing of Dobbs, we need to make sure that we are remaining vigilant and we're protecting that right in Washington State. I sponsored 2 bills eliminating copays for abortion and also authorizing the Department of Corrections to purchase mifepristone just in case we have that federal uncertainty with elections that are coming up, so we can ensure every single person in Washington has access to reproductive choice. Lastly, thank you. That's really important. We've done a lot more on reproductive choice. We're protecting providers from out-of-state vigilantes that want to apply their archaic rules to Washington State providers. We're also providing data privacy, so you're not going to be tracked if you go to a clinic. And behavioral health. We need to expand access to behavioral health. I've been working deeply in that, and I look forward to serving as your state senator. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
That's kind of forceful there, Spencer. All right, well, thank you. Thanks for having us here today. We really appreciate this, and I think it's worthwhile to point out that only when I visit the, I died here, but only higher levels. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's working. Here. This is the oh, gotcha. Okay. Technology. Yeah. Anyway, only when I visit the Gateway Rotarians, or is that where we're at? Yeah. Yeah, the Gateway Rotarians, do I actually interact with people at this time of the morning. So congratulations to you guys for being early risers, and I appreciate that aspect of this organization. So my name is Bob Iyall. I am running for the Legislative District 22 Senate seat. I am a member of the Nisqually Indian Tribe, where I'm also the Chief Executive Officer of our Medicine Creek Enterprise Corporation, which I oversee the management of our day-to-day operations at all of our enterprises, including Red Wing Casino, which, by the way, just a little plug, we're getting ready to open the new food area out there. So next time you're out there, look for that. It should be nice grab-and-go kind of food service there. But we also have a chain of 7 convenience stores, and these convenience stores are not your regular mom and pop convenience stores. These are high-performing, just outstanding convenience stores that provide a lot of benefit to the tribe and to the community. We've got several other, and boy, that runs fast. Also, I just want to point out that I'm also a elected official I'm the commissioner at the Port of Olympia, where our biggest project that's coming up is working to clean up Bud Inlet, and I'm going to cover more of that later.
Thank you, Kennedy. So our first question is going to be, what are the 3 most pressing issues facing the 22nd Legislative District, and how will you address them?
How long do we have for this one?
We're going to have 1 minute.
Oh my gosh. That's enough time. So the issues that I think are the most pressing happen to be the ones that I'm working on. Affordable housing, we have a systematic problem. We're not creating enough housing to keep up with population growth. The median home price in King County is $900,000. Here it's $500,000. We need to make it more efficient, less costly, less expensive, and more speedy to build housing in Washington. And I have some plans on how to do that. We also need to hold cities accountable for ensuring that they're legalizing diverse housing options like ADUs, row houses, duplexes, the types of housing that we can do in infill environments are more cost-effective and more affordable. For protecting reproductive rights, we need to remain vigilant because we know with federal uncertainty, we can't just be working day to day. We need to be on the offense and thinking ahead at what could be happening. Right now, fetal personhood is something that states are trying to do, so we're on the watch for that. And with behavioral health, we need to create more inpatient behavioral health facilities as well as outpatient behavioral health facilities, and we need to get a workforce where we can actually provide those services, which means loan repayment programs and ways that we can get more folks out into the field.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, affordable housing, I think, is top of mind for everybody. I mean, congratulations on the work that was done in the legislature in 2023. I think, the year of housing is, it's a nice marketing slogan. We really have yet to see the impacts, the positive impacts that is going to come from that, because it takes about 4 years from concept to completion to get these housing projects done. Another thing is behavioral health. Let's look more at how the first responders are handling folks in crisis mode. When they get to the emergency room, for example, we don't really have the manpower or the expertise to handle those folks in crisis mode. That would be a great addition to our behavioral health thing. And then I'll just say transportation is another thing that we really have to look hard at.
Thank you both. So now we're going to transition to questions from the membership, and I'm going to go ahead to a question that came from our Gateway Rotarian RM. We're going to keep them shortened just for anonymity's sake. And it's going to start with, do you have a problem with a relatively small state income tax for people grossing over $1 million a year, $5 million a year, or $20 million a year? This is going to be a 1-minute response.
So I am a proud supporter of progressive revenue options in Washington State because we have the most progressive, actually the second most progressive tax code in the entire country, which means that we have the lowest income people in Washington pay a disproportionate amount of their income in their taxes. We also have ever increasing needs for our social safety net, things that help people that are vulnerable, people that need a hand up so they can get back on their feet. I myself, when I was in college, I was unemployed and I had to get on food stamps so I could help myself and get a job where I could do that. I was on unemployment. So we need to have those things for people when they need them. So I do support progressive revenue options. I supported the capital gains tax. I do support other options that are on the table, something like that. I do support, but we don't have the votes within the legislature to do that because it requires a supermajority. So that's why we've been looking at other options like the capital gains tax, and we will continue to look at those options because next year we're looking at a revenue situation where we're going to need it.
Okay. Yes, I am against any type of state income tax. I'm not I'm not against reform our tax code and that, but I don't believe it should include any type of income tax, state income tax level. So I'm just going to say no and leave it at that.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, so the next question comes from RL, and it says, what, if any, new legislation would you seek to propose or pass in the coming term, if elected? We'll switch it back to you, Bob.
New legislation, I think, well, I will tell you the thing that concerns me is that the legislature is going to have a big job and I'm going to just talk about Initiative 2117. If Initiative 2117, if we don't repeal the Climate Commitment Act, there's going to be a big gap in the state's budget for transportation over the next 15, 16 years. We have some very important transportation projects that are also wrapped into environmental projects. For example, the I-5 bridge at the Nisqually River. If we don't do something with that area right now, we have to keep that project on schedule and funded. So if we lose that funding from the Climate Commitment Act, that's going to put us behind schedule, and the river is going to win. If you haven't seen that interaction between the river and the bridge, one day the river will win, and we will be isolated down here.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So I've got about 16 bills on my whiteboard right now for next year that I'm hoping to prepare. First, housing, eliminating minimum parking requirements so that we can spur more construction of housing statewide. Right now, cities make it a requirement to build parking spaces, and I think the market can decide that, and developers know best if they can do that. An affordable housing sales tax break so we can get and spur more affordable housing construction by eliminating the sales tax on that. And then also the Housing Accountability Act, so we can hold cities accountable for following the laws and the rules that we passed in a year of housing. They don't go into effect until June of 2025. We don't have any oversight mechanisms for that. One bill will be allowing psychologists to prescribe psychotropic drugs because we don't have enough psychiatrists in Washington State. It's based on a military program. I introduced that bill before, and I'll bring it back. Another bill will be taking nursing assistants and authorizing the governing authority to be the State Board of Nursing, because right now they're kind of in this mixed area. We want to have one streamlined place for all of them to be. And then the last is eliminating toxins and feminine hygiene products.
Okay, so moving on to our next one here. This one comes from BS, and it says, the state is in the planning stages of demolishing the general administration building and replacing it with a temporary parking lot. What do you see as a long-term use of that piece of the Capitol campus?
Wow, that's a great question. I really haven't thought about that, but that GA building is it's iconic. I mean, my mother worked in that building back in the early 1960s. She was a data processor, and I remember visiting that building then. And so it's in a way it's kind of sad to see it go away, but I know we got to make progress. And gosh, honestly, I hadn't heard it was going to be a parking garage, so that's kind of sad also, because it would be nice if we could maybe just kind of extend the Capitol campus there. I know right across the street we have a memorial to, I think it's a World War II memorial. Actually, my great uncle is on that memorial. He was on the Arizona when it was shot down in Pearl Harbor. So, gosh, I would like to see that campus just kind of extended into. I don't think we need another building there myself, I guess.
Thank you. I'm in consistent communication with folks that are concerned about our Capitol campus and how it's going to grow and how it's changing. We are under construction right now. We've got a new building going up that will hopefully, I think, be ready by session. One of the things that we hear from folks especially is the impact on the South Capitol neighborhood, which is a residential community immediately south of that. And so we want to make sure that we maintain ways for our emergency vehicles to get through and make sure that access is not eliminated. But the other thing that we hear about is parking. And do we really want to be creating so much more parking spaces when hopefully in the future we're going to have less people driving individual cars. We have more carpooling and more alternative transportation. We do have a lot of parking on the Capitol campus, and we especially have parking that's available when session is not around. There's also parking structures that are actually across the street from Capitol Way. Right now there is a process and there's a work group that goes through the planning stages of the Capitol campus, and Senator Hunt actually sits on that, so I'm looking forward to doing that when I serve in the Senate.
Thank you both. So the next question comes from TC, and it says, school districts throughout the state have been experiencing fiscal challenges due to declining enrollments. This has led to many schools closing. Do you support increasing the revenues to K-12? If so, from where should the money come?
Well, this is one of those conversations about progressive revenue, because I do think that we're not adequately funding our K-12 system, as evidenced by the many school closures that you've seen on the news in Seattle. Like, right, my community down the street, we had a school, 2 schools that were closed in Olympia, and then we all saw what happened in Iyall. The McCreary decision was progress. My former boss was a person in that case, actually. But what we have right now is the problem where schools can't afford, they're not getting paid by the state and given revenue by the state for the number of workers that they actually have, which is the fundamental problem. And so we have to figure out a way to come up with revenue so that they can actually pay for their staff that they need in order to provide care and our education for our kids. Because what happened in Iyall is they couldn't pass that levy, and so they're having 200 teachers potentially lose their jobs. And that's going to disproportionately impact those young people. Just because they couldn't pass that levy doesn't mean that they shouldn't have access to that quality education. So we have to go back and figure out a long-term plan. We're already doing that within the Senate Democratic Caucus, coming up with a plan for that. But it will require progressive revenue.
Yeah, thank you. I do think this is an area that tax reform is in order. You know, it is the duty of the state legislature to make sure that education is funded. I think we need to make sure that they have the resources that they need, but there also has to be an accountability system in place. Our K through 12 right now is not, I mean, it's kind of middle of the roads nationwide. We're not excelling. I think, and that's our fault. We're not making sure that those schools have the resources and that accountability system in place so that they can produce the very best education for our young folks.
Thank you. So the next question comes from AD, and it says, what is your stance on rent control? And what other options would you propose to help tenants while ensuring we don't hurt our fragile supply of rentals?
Great question. Yeah, Andrew. No, that's so rent control. I'm really not in favor of rent control. I do believe that the more being a landlord is a business. I'm a landlord. I own a rental unit, and I own one. And because of the restrictions and the regulations that are in place. When my tenants move out, I'm going to sell it. It will no longer be on the rental market. And that's what business owners face, because the more we regulate, the more risk we put on them. And to be a successful business owner, you have to manage that risk and you have to mitigate that risk. So when you the other thing is putting rental caps is actually counterproductive, because if you put a cap of 7% on the rental increases, then landlords are going to increase that 7% every year when maybe they don't have to.
Thank you, Representative Barkas, for the question. So we had a rent stabilization bill last year, which some folks refer to as rent control, which would have stabilized rents by putting a cap of 7% increase over time. It would eliminate or not apply to new construction for 10 years in the hopes that it would not dampen or disincentivize new construction, which is a concern that I have. Here's what I think. I think that the housing crisis is going to get worse because, as my colleague here stated, it's not a short-term solution. This is a long-term solution, which is why we have to continue working on it. And in the meantime, we're going to have more pressure because more people are going to face exponential increases on their rents, which we see especially in low-income communities like mobile home parks. There's more pressure politically at the legislature. More cities, individual cities, are coming up with their own regulations, like Olympia just did, like Tacoma did. If we were to have one policy statewide that's uniform, it would provide more consistency and stability for the people that want to rent and operate at those homes.
Thank you. Thank you, Bo. It says, what would you like to see as the future of the South Sound region? And then could you give us a personal vision of that?
Can you be more specific what you envision for the South Sound region?
That is the question as it was submitted.
Okay. Well, I mean, the South Sound region is the place that we all call home. It's the seat of our state capital in Washington. We employ many state workers here. It's one of the largest sectors. We also have, second to that, would be healthcare workers. So for me, I guess I would say that I envision a South Sound where we have stable, consistent, livable wages for people, that they can afford homes to live in, where they're not spending more than 30% of their income on housing, which is what affordability is, and that we have access to all the healthcare services that everyone needs. Those are all things that are struggling right now. If you want to try to get into a primary care provider, brand new, I just tried to do that, I couldn't get, it was going to be like a year before I could able to do that. So if you have health insurance and you want to exercise your options to find and to try different health insurance with different networks, you can't actually do that. You don't have choice right now, which is why we need to invest so much in our healthcare workforce. I've worked directly on that in the legislature. I worked on 2 bills to increase our behavioral health workforce by basically streamlining the process for getting into about 5 different behavioral health fields. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, for the South Sound, you know, I think what I envision for the South Sound is strengthening the economy, and I think in order to do that, we need to attract more dollars downtown, downtown Olympia, Thurston County area. One thing is we're going to have to make, like I mentioned, the I-5 bridge at the Nisqually River. We're going to take care of that so that we can attract more people downtown. The way we build a strong economy is attract those outside dollars and then keep them in our area. All too often you see that folks who maybe even work here in Olympia live in Tacoma, or they're commuting somewhere else. We need to take those dollars earned in the area and spend them in the area. Keep the dollar for at least 5 or 6 transactions in our area. That's what builds a strong economy. And then tourism, we need to strengthen our tourism. The Port of Olympia now is working on a master plan for the peninsula and how we kind of develop that, and that is one of our major issues, is how we're going to attract more people to the region.
Thank you. And our final question today, before we do the closing statements, is going to come from BS, and it says, great initial question. What about concerns regarding the stability of the slope between that site and Capitol Lake? I'm not sure what that site they're referencing here is. So this is the question as written here. So I'll try and paraphrase it for you, but it says, it seems like they're concerned about the stability of the slope between a site and Capitol Lake. I'm not familiar with that one. No.
Next question.
Okay. Yeah, let's move along then. Okay. So this one comes from RM here, and it says the change in top expenses to the state occurred during COVID. Costs for welfare programs grew dramatically and compete with money spent on education and health. How do you prioritize and adjust for where money should go, given that COVID's effects on the economy has receded?
Thank you. Expenses did increase during COVID. We also got a large federal infusion through the ARPA dollars during COVID. When you have an experience like an epidemic where you've got people that aren't able to work, people that are experiencing not being able to pay their rent, potentially becoming homeless, it was essential for us to do things like make sure we prevent people from becoming homeless by having the eviction moratorium and giving people stability. It was also really important that we make sure that they have income, that they have unemployment insurance, so they can stay where they are and provide food and things for their families and health care. That's, in my opinion, the role of government, is for us to help people when they're experiencing a hardship like that, a disaster like an epidemic that happened all across the world. In terms of funding, it's true, those ARPA dollars have gone away. So now we do have an expanded social services that are being utilized in Washington. We've also expanded other programs outside the ones that I've mentioned. We need to look at how we can sustainably provide these services with the revenue options that we have. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that question. So I think part of the reason that that revenue is down is just because of the tax dollars that the state's not collecting. One thing, a major thing that we can do to help alleviate that is get people back to work, get people back to the office. I know this is, I have a lot of people in my own organization that still work remotely, or at least part-time remotely. I think that has a real effect on local economies, getting people back into the office, spending their money in the areas that they're working is essential to increasing that revenue, and that's my solution.
Thank you both. Okay. So the last question in our event today is going to be a 1-minute opportunity to ask a question of your opponent. They will have 1 minute to respond to that question, and then they will be given the same opportunity. Let's go ahead and start with Jessica Bateman.
Thank you. We've asked each other a couple questions so far, so I would just say, what are your top 3 things for increasing housing in Washington State, if you could do anything?
Yeah, my top three things, I think, we've got great opportunity coming in, and provided that if Kamala Harris is elected president, she has already made a huge commitment to housing. I think the state needs to be, Washington State needs to be first in line. We need to be able to take advantage of those resources, that the state can facilitate those resources, make sure that our local communities, our local governments, state, or county and city governments have the resources so that they can build their housing needs according to what their needs are. So I think that's a huge thing. The other thing is working with the developers. I've been talking about collaborating. We need to collaborate with developers, with transportation people, with cities and permitting offices. We need to collaborate with them to find a solution to streamline the process so that those houses can get built.
All right, so you have 1 minute to ask another question.
Do I have a minute to go? Well, I might need that minute to think of one because I wasn't prepared for asking Jessica a question.
We're running short on time here.
Yeah.
If you'd like, we can skip to the closing statements.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a question that's going to make her look bad or anything, so. So let's just go ahead.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and move to the closing statements now, and each candidate is going to have 2 minutes to do that, and then we're going to thank them for their participation. All right, go ahead.
All right, yeah, thank you. Well, I think it's important to say that I've jumped into this race, and I've had a lot of folks who have kind of asked me, why did you decide to run for the Senate? Well, it's been in the back of my mind for a long time that when Senator Sam Hunt decided to retire, I may take a run at that seat. I wasn't intending to run against Jessica. My vision is to run for that Senate seat because I do have a vision for the state, and that vision is that every voice in the state is heard. All too often our legislators work, and they work for one group. I want to get back to a collaborative style of governance. I want to have all stakeholders at the table to create objective solutions to the issues that we face. Because all too often the legislators that sit in there are the policies, the laws, the policies that are created we don't really understand the impacts. We're not really there living them. I've been out there. I've had a full career in the building trades. Over 35 years I was out there every day, day after day in the hot sun or in the pouring down rain or even on beautiful days. I was out there working, trying to build a life for my family. So I understand that aspect. Since then I've gone and earned a Bachelor of Science degree and a Master's degree in business, and I'm using that skill at my tribe right now. And I've learned governance at the port. And so I want to take that experience to the state, and I want to create relationships that we can build. We can build and create objective solutions to all of these issues.
Thank you. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. I'm running for the Senate because I want to make sure that we're creating enough affordable and attainable housing in Washington. The current chair of the Senate Housing Committee is running for the Office of the Insurance Commissioner. When she announced that she was doing that, she's one of the strongest voices on housing in the Senate. That's when I made the decision that I was going to run. After, of course, Senator Sam Hunt, after 24 years of service, decided that he was going to retire. And that's my objective. I've been working diligently to make sure that we're addressing this issue with all of my experience working at the local government level, both as a planning commissioner and a city council member. Our affordable housing crisis is a solvable problem, which is why it keeps me up at night that we aren't doing everything that we can to make sure that we're streamlining and make it easier. When you have an emergency, you triage the issue. You make sure that you're dealing with it effectively and efficiently. We have a ton of red tape in Washington for creating housing. It can take, cities are supposed to take 120 days to process a permit. Every single day, they are not adhering to that. We have no ramifications for when they don't adhere to that. A lot of your business owners, what happens when you don't have ramifications? So that's a simple solution. We need oversight. We need to make sure that cities are actually allowing for the construction of these types of houses. We also need to work with developers. I've been meeting with them and talking to them about what are the top 3 things that we can do to make sure that we're addressing this issue. One thing that they say is limits lot size requirements so they can actually build on smaller plots of land. Make sure that those permits are getting through as quickly as possible, and making sure that we have the workforce. Should all of these policies that we pass and are implemented go into effect, we don't have the workforce to do that right now, which is why I'm running, because I'm going to use the collaboration, the experience that I've had working on this issue in the House with a bicameral, bipartisan package for 2025 so we can actually make progress on this, because if we don't, future generations are going to hold us accountable. My little sister is 29 years old. She's a pediatric nurse. She works at Children's, Mary Bridge. And her and her partner cannot afford a home. They postponed getting married and having kids. She's the youngest. We don't have any grandkids in the family, and all the pressure's on her. We need to make sure that young people have the ability to put down roots, earn equity, and make sure that they have a future that they can believe in. Thank you.
Gateway Rotary, join me in thanking both of these candidates for coming up here. It's an incredibly stressful process, and I really appreciate that. I've been through this myself, I promise you. I know what it's like. So thank you so much again.
Thank you. One more big hand for Jessica and Bob. And for Spencer Zeeland. Spencer, great job moderating. And I also forgot to mention earlier today, so you may have noticed that Marilyn is gone. Marilyn will be out for a few weeks as our server, and so please welcome Stacy when she comes by. She's doing an incredible job. Okay, are we ready for a little fun?
Sure.
All right. Do I have to turn my fun sign on? Let's see.
I don't know, do we have one? No, it's all right.
Thank you very much. Let's give another big hand for our candidates, ladies and gentlemen. Bob won the Port Commissioner seat here a while back that I ran for in 2015, and congratulations. So, I won't make that joke again about, no, I'm not even going to go there. So it's great to have you all here today, and do you think we have time? Should I do, I don't know if I have time to go to the introduction thing. So let's just introduce this side of the room. See, I'm doing the same thing, I'm cutting out. I think it's both the antenna and the intensity of our voice that makes it peak the microphone. And this position here, there must be a Wi-Fi blockage. I think it's Mike Bell. So, all of our new members, you may not have met this person. He'd like to just say about 10 words introducing himself to the new members. Mike Bell.
Oh, wonderful. My name is Mike Bell. I've been a member of the Gateway Rotary since 2011, I believe it was. And before that, I was part of the Lacey Rotary. And I live in Olympia and have for the last, I guess it's almost 20 years now. So I appreciate
What's
that.
your job at Gateway Rotary?
I do not want to mention. It's an embarrassment to me. It's I'm the treasurer of the club, so okay.
He's the treasurer of the club until our first audit. So, Ed, would you like to introduce yourself to our new members, Terry, Robert, and Janine, quickly?
Oh man, on the spot. Ed Schlick, I own a wine store. Love all things Rotary because Rotary is international, yet Rotary works small in the communities. It's a big deal. Having spent 17 years overseas in France as a loaner in the French wine industry, it's really wonderful to be part of something much, much bigger. Rotary.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you very much. Also, I'm going to go around this side of the table. So Andrew infrequently comes to the club. Would you like to introduce yourself to our new members?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Andrew.
Wait a minute. Are your initials AB?
No. You called me out, Jerry. I told you not to. Andrew Marcus. I own a company here back in Lacey as of a year ago. There's got hometown property management, single-family rental units. As my colleague said, I've had the honor of serving the 2nd legislative district, which is just a little bit east of here. Be going into my 5th term come January.
Thank you, Andrew. Welcome to the new members who have just met Andrew. And Amanda, would you like to introduce yourself to the new members?
Sure. Amanda Fay, past president twice. I got a mulligan. Gateway Rotarian since 2017.
Since 2017. That's 9 years, right?
Oh, doesn't seem like it. It's fun. It's too fun.
And in that time, she's managed to be president and what else?
Vice President.
President-elect, vice president, club admin twice, president twice. I had to learn how to say no.
That's right.
So Amanda has been voluntold more than anybody in our club, I think. And she
I love it.
That's right. So I love that you love it. That's right. And lastly, and then we'll introduce other people next week, Randy Moeller.
Randy Moeller, I'm a retired physician and have been with Rotary. I'm the founding member, one of the founding members of this club. And it's kind of ironic because it was Tom Carroll's elevator speech that made me consider it, because as a student in high school going to Rotary meetings, I vowed I would never be a Rotarian. That's right.
And just goes to show you, what goes around comes around. So let's do special moments. Anybody have any special moments? Yes, Amanda.
I do. I've got the kitty this time, your kitty, which was, I'm giving $1 because there was about 120-pound cougar about 8 feet from my bathroom window over in Chelan last week. Saw it on the ring camera, woke up and triangulated where it was, and then didn't go outside the rest of the day.
Was that a reflection?
No, but not this cougar, the kind of, yeah. Nice, thank you, Nathan, I really appreciate that. Okay, that's it, and here's my dog.
I've heard of cougars being peeping toms, so that must have been it. Did you think in fact that cougar was plotting you as prey?
Could have been, yeah, it's stalking some of the local migrant workers too. Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Ooh, it is scary, absolutely, yeah. Hungry cougars. Yes, our newest member.
Are you taking dollars?
Yes, indeed.
Well, now that I'm a member, the only way to really show that you love somebody is to be willing to pick on them. Because then it shows that you really do love them. So if you're going to pick on me, here's your dollar.
Awesome.
Because I'm a new member.
That's great. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Normally, we require our new members on their induction day to do $1. This is the first time I think anybody's actually volunteered that. So that makes you extra special, Janine. Thank you so much. Thank you for being special.
Jerry?
Yes.
Here's $3, just up to there, Janine, but one for each of our new members. And welcome.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to get out my special Rotary card. So also, new members, if you haven't seen this is a Rotary punch card, because a lot of people don't carry cash anymore. And if you want to do what Janine did, where she contributed with a special moment, and you have something to say, or somebody to burn, or somebody whatever, leave my wallet alone.
You need a new wallet for Christmas.
No, I don't. This is perfect. This is eel skin. So I would like
Eel
to...
skin. Do you know when the last time eel skin saw the surface of light? About 35 years ago.
Like much of my fashion choices, this is 35 years old.
Oh, at least.
I'm not a hoarder. I like to say I'm just consistently collecting. That's all. Okay, so let's do 3, because I would like to call out Spencer for his fine Southern gentleman attire today. Let's give a big hand to Spencer. You know, I would say he cleans up nice, but I don't know that either cleans up or nice are good descriptors. So anyhow, thank you, Spencer. Let's give him a big hand for the great job he did today as well. And now back to our president, where we'll do our drawing. It's a drawing.
23 tickets.
We have sold 23 tickets today. Last week's pot was $76. This week's pot is $12. 12 marble. Okay. All right, we had a winner last week. So let's see. Let's have somebody draw that. Our new members. All right. The winner, 675-6432.
Son of 3-2. That would be good.
All right, 3-2. It's Mike. I can't see in the dark. Bell. Okay.
And Treasurer Mike Bell. So those new members, if you haven't deposited your check yet, Mike Bell will take it for you.
And I have $1 for a happy moment here too.
Oh,
I just got back from a very spectacular trip to South Africa, in which we handed out a desk for several schools. It's a Rotary trip, and we handed out desks to 3 different schools, over 1,000 desks. I'll bring one and show you what it looks like. But it was a very special day. And the cutest kids we had, in one school they said you can't take the kids home. And we all wanted to take them home. They were so cute. So I think it was a wonderful trip and really enjoyed it. Thank you. Now we'll grab the
marble. You grab the microphone. Quick, grab the microphone. Okay, here we go. That's all right. White marble doesn't win, black marble does win. And he got a white marble!
The pot continues next week. So thank you all. Kim, come back next week. Or whatever you can. I'm not going to force it. Next week, our speakers are Karen Hall and Tanya Moat from Habitat for Humanity. And with that, we say farewell.